Alright guys, here to install a grill on a JK. This is what it comes in. It's an AlphaVinyl kit that comes with every package basically. An application spray, a squeegee, and a knife. It comes with some directions here. It just kind of tells you some basic stuff, but kind of know what we're doing here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take out the squeegee and using the felt side, just not to scratch any of this, just kind of go over the whole decal just to iron it out. Make sure it's adhered to the transfer tape. I usually should do it. Next thing you want to do is take out this application spray. What we're going to do is we're going to start from one end of the decal and work our way back. So start peeling just a little bit to expose it, and then just start applying as much of this as you can to the back of the decal. Peel off parts at a time and just keep applying. Be careful when you hit the actual lines. Sometimes the vinyl can get kinked, and make sure you don't stretch it when you're pulling it back. Can't hurt it with application spray, so just keep adding as much of it as you can. Liberally apply this. At this point, if the decal touches itself, it's not going to stick to it, so that eliminates any problems you might have with it sticking to itself and ruining the decal. Get that off the table. You want to make sure that your fingertips are actually wet before you actually touch the clear spots of the decal. If it's not, you might see fingerprints or dirt behind it when you install it. So just better to keep your fingers moist anytime you touch the back of the decal. All right, I think we're good there. Now it's time for the actual grill installation. This is going to be on a off the vehicle grill, but the process is all the same. Here you can see we already debadged the grill that we're going to be using it on. So what you want to do is just kind of line up the decal with the grill here. Normally what I do is I normally start with the center slat and then make sure that is somewhat straight, and then just kind of work your way around. Again, like I said, this won't stick to the grill, but just to be on the safe side, we might as well apply a little bit of application spray to the grill itself just in case. Makes your install much easier. It's okay to use the whole bottle of this stuff. This is literally just made for one application, so once it's done, you're good to go. If you ever, for whatever reason, run out, you could replace the application spray with some soap and water, and it'll work somewhat similar. But this is an alcohol-based spray. Alright, now I'm going to slap this thing down on top of the grill. And like I said, we could do this all the time, so there's nothing permanent about the application. Just kind of get it somewhat in a straight line. You want to line up the center. This would be the center. Line up the center line with the rest of the. You can see once you kind of put it down, it kind of follows the lines for the most part of the grill. There is some curvature to the grill, and I'll talk about that later. But basically, you want to look at the top line. See how it's not very straight on my end right now. So again, just lift, and just kind of use the top of the grill as your center almost, or as your guide, to make sure that it will line up with the rest of the lines. All right, the grill is not flat, so you're gonna have some curvature to it. When you're installing a flat piece of vinyl, that could be a problem sometimes, but not really the case here. I'll show you why. As you can kind of see, the lines are lined up with the grill. These look like they're all lined up pretty good for the most part. All right, and so basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the squeegee that they gave us. We're going to start from right side and just kind of work our way to the other side. We want to get all the air, or all the water actually, application spray out of the decal before we do anything else. So with that said, just kind of start from the center of it and just kind of work our way out. You can see the water just coming out from it, from underneath the vinyl. Just kind of work your way from inside outward. Here's when it gets a little tricky. Right here, this is the section that, due to the curvature of the grill, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to see how it kind of pops off. So one way is, if you're having problems with that, the easiest thing to do there is actually put a relief cut in it. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. What we want to do is, because this vinyl is kind of, this transfer tape is kind of keeping it pretty rigid here, we want to throw some relief cuts in this thing to make it kind of, see how it doesn't do that anymore. So just put some cuts in this. You can see how vinyl just lets you move it around. There's still some areas where it's not going to stay, or it's not going to lay down together. And the easiest thing for that is, because it's on clear vinyl and there's black printed over it, you're never going to see this, but it's just to put basically relief cuts in the vinyl itself. So once you do that, once you slice it, you want to stick one side of it down. Make sure you pull the transfer tape back so you don't overlay it. Take the other piece, make sure it's even. And there you have it, basically. You can't even tell if there was anything even there. Again, we're going to keep the transfer tape on this whole thing until it dries, right? So take your squeegee and just start working, literally like what I said, from the inside outward. Making sure all the water is out from underneath the vinyl. And if there's any water there, it's okay. When it starts drying out, it will stick a lot better to it. But for now, just kind of work your way with the squeegee. Just go over the whole decal here. Yeah, we got to this part. See here, it actually lays a lot better than it did on the other side. I actually don't even need to put a relief cut on this side, so it just kind of went down by itself. So there's no need to even cut it there. All right, you basically get it to this point. What I would recommend is just kind of leaving it there, just to dry out all the way. You could use a hair dryer, just being careful, kind of just heating up the whole area and working your finger. If you have any spots that feel like they're raised or something like that, you just heat that up a little bit with a hair dryer and then just push it down with your finger. But again, most of that stuff will come out by itself once the decal actually dries. I would say, just depending on the temperature that you're working with, but I'll give it some time. Make sure you can kind of feel it when it's still wet. So definitely a couple of hours of dry time would probably do you right. And so I'll show you what happens once this thing dries out, and we'll come back to it. All right, guys, just finishing up getting the transfer tape off of this thing. All right, that's pretty much what it looks like. And you can kind of see there's areas where there's still water under there, like, there'll be edges that kind of just lift up a little bit here and there. You can kind of see along the bottom here, there's still some water there. Probably just didn't give it enough time, but regardless, what you're going to want to use is, I'm using a heat gun, but you guys can use a hair dryer. Really anything will work as long as it puts out some sort of temperature. You got to be careful here. The only thing you want to watch out for is actually kinking the vinyl together over. It's like you see right here, this would be noticeable if it kinks together, but luckily for us, this is actually a pretty easy process. So you want to turn this on and get it. You don't want it to be too hot, just kind of, you know, pretty warm, but you just kind of go up along the bottom here. See, there's some space. You just want to hit it with heat a little bit, and then just work your finger in up and down motion, just to kind of get all the water out. There's another spot right there. Literally, just hit it for a couple seconds, and then just work your finger to get all the water out. This is cast vinyl, so as soon as you hit it with some heat, it actually shrinks up just a little bit on you, but that allows you to get all sorts of water and any sort of kinks out of it. See right here, there's one right there. You just want to hit it a little bit. Almost disappears as soon as you do that, but just kind of run your finger over just to make sure it sticks well. The only thing to watch out for is, you know, when you hit it with heat, make sure you're not pointing the heat gun at a different spot on your vinyl, because that could be catastrophic. Again, I feel something over here, so I'm just going to hit it a little bit. Just work my finger up and down on that. Lay it down completely. Here's the big one, so let's see what happens. Hit it with some heat, and then work your finger up and down. See, completely gone. Again, we kind of just want to do that for literally every single spot. I would use your finger on this one. Using a squeegee could make it kink over itself, so better just to go in by hand. Again, as this thing dries, it's gonna adhere much better, but add a little bit more heat and push it down. Let's see, this thing is pretty good. This is where we did our relief cut. You can't really even see it, but again, this is one of those things where you could have just peeled off the transfer tape and just did this method, but we just kind of showed it to you guys, 2 ways of how to do it. Either one works. Either one doesn't look any better than the other one, so really just kind of go over the whole thing. There's some spot right there. Just hit it with some heat and lay it down with your fingers. So that's pretty much it right there. I would say we have it pretty good. I'd say just leave it out for a little bit, let it dry out completely, but that's basically the finished product. Turn this off. It's pretty much ready to be installed now.